Jen from Fabulous Paper Emporium. I am so excited because today, beyond the card, is ornaments. I have two ornaments that I'm going to show you today. I've got this lovely snowflake. I've actually got it on my cue card as May Snowflake. So this came from May Made It, and that's her channel. And she's got fantastic tutorials as well. And so I happened to see this on her site, and I've actually made two so far. Make sure that I had this down pat before showing it to everybody. So cute. So that is the first one that we're going to be making. And the second one that we're going to be making is this round faceted ornament. And so both of them, I'm actually using paper from the Photoplay's Holiday Plaids. It's an amazing 6x6. Here, I'll show it to you. It's a 6x6 paper pad. So if you really like the snowflakes, let's say, and are a fan of plaid, there are a few solids in here, which you could certainly use as well. But even if you wanted to skip those, you'd get quite a few ornaments out of this paper pad. So this isn't everything. I've obviously had at this paper pack already. And I've used quite a bit of that for my holiday cards and ornaments and things like that. So anyways, so yeah, so I hope you're as excited as I am. The first one that we're going to do is the snowflake, as I said. So we just need one sheet of 6x6. It's great if it's double-sided. That's what I've used because you will see both sides of the paper. So you're going to take one 6x6. You are going to cut 12 half-inch strips. So this is 1/2 inch by 6 inches. So once you have that done, you're going to separate your pile into two. So I'm going to have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to put the remaining 6 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, perfect. So you're going to grab two of your strips and we are going to fold these in half. Doesn't matter which side is showing out. We don't need to make that decision quite yet. So just fold that in half, get that, press it relatively tight with your fingers. Okay. So here we go. Okay, so now you're going to take your liquid glue. We're going to put a little bit of glue right there, and we're going to make a plus sign. So I'm going to want to lay the score marks that I've made. I really want those intersecting as much in the middle as possible. It doesn't have to be super, super precise, but you do want to make sure that you do have it, within reason. Okay, so we're going to leave our plus sign like this, and we're going to grab two more of our strips from the pile that we've been working from. So you grab two, you'll have two left over. So I'm going to work this way. So now I have this strip is under this one. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of under, over, and that kind of thing. So this strip is on top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this one underneath. Okay. I'm just going to glue that in place, just like I did my plus sign. Okay, glue that in place. Okay, and then I'm going to take my next strip and I'm going to feed that under as well. So we're doing a bit of paper weaving, and if you know anything about weaving, it's, if you have over, then the next strip is going to go under, and vice versa. Okay, so I'm going to lift this and put some glue on this side. Doesn't require a whole lot of glue. Again, it's just an ornament. It's not a card. It's not, really going to be handled a whole lot. Okay, so again, we have under, over, under. So that's where we are right now. We're going to turn that around 90 degrees. Doesn't matter which way, clockwise, counterclockwise, and we're going to take our last 2 strips. So now we're still working in this plane, right? So this strip goes over, under, over. So if you follow going from right to left, which I know is not how you read normally. So this strip is over, under, over. So now when we feed this strip, we're going to go under, over, under. And that's how that strip is going to stand. Well, stay. It's not standing. All right. Okay, you are wanting to leave just a little bit of space in between. You don't want to feed that super, super tight, because when it comes time like to do all the rest of the stuff, it becomes a little bit difficult to maneuver. Okay, so before we go any further, I'm going to flip this one up. I'm going to apply a little bit of glue, lay that one down. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to the far left. Apply a little bit of glue, lay that down. Okay, there's one more spot that we need to do, but I will do that just as soon as we're done the last piece. So the last one is going to go from the bottom, and we're going to do the same thing. So we need to go under, over, under. And again, bring that close to our center, making sure we've got our sides, as lined up as possible. Okay, and we're going to glue this one. Oh. Man. Okay, so we're going to fold this one up, apply a little bit of glue. Perfect. And down. Oh, I'm going to have to move that one down a little bit. It's a nice thing about liquid glue is you don't got to worry about instantaneous adhesion. Okay, and then we're going to lift up this far left, apply our glue, and down. So the only 2 pieces that we haven't done is we're going to flip this over is this piece. The center piece, we need to just tack that down with a little bit of glue on that side, and then on the bottom, I'm really not sure which side I want to have facing up. Okay, so now that we're done with this, I'm going to set that aside. We're going to do the exact same thing with our next 6 strips. So again, fold them in half. Make sure that I'm still in frame. Fold 1 in half and fold 2 in half. Okay, I'm going to fold these out again. Put a little bit of glue right there. Grab my second piece, and I'm really just feeling kind of my way. That's where the center is, so there we go. Okay, so now we have our second cross, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So I have this piece is laying on top, and this piece is under. So how I'm going to arrange this is this piece is going to go on top as well, and this piece. So I'm just going to grab my glue, apply it, making sure that I've got a little tiny gap. That stays there. Little tiny bit of glue. Oh, geez. Slid out. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to spin this around 90 degrees, And we're going to repeat what we did again the last time. So this strip is going to go this way. I have, let me get my pointer. This strip goes under, over, under. So we are going to go over, under, over. Okay. Before I move, I'm just going to tack this in place. Get that side done. Get this side done. Then we're going to go from the top and do the exact same thing. Under, over, under. And we're going to glue this in place. Okay, so again, we're going to flip this over because we have two centerpieces, I believe. Oh, we didn't really need to flip that over. Pardon me. I've got to get these two centerpieces glued down. Well, I don't know how that piece ended. Well, I didn't do that piece right, that's why. My apologies. I have misglued. I think I told you to do one thing, and I did quite the opposite. So, my apologies. That's why I was confused there, obviously, for a second. Okay, I meant to go this way. Okay, that makes more sense. For whatever reason, I had that top piece was going the same way as the strip before, which was obviously not giving me the right thing. Okay, my apologies. Things happen like that from time to time, but it is glue and paper and it will totally be fine. It will be fine. Okay, so there we have it. So we have our two big plus signs now. And what we're going to do then next is we are going to use just the outer strips. So there's the middle. So we've got 3 on each side. Just these 2 are what we're going to be using. And how we're going to start making our fancy snowflake is we are going to curve these 2 in. So you're going to see the opposite side is going to be face up, and we're going to glue that in place. And that's what makes these petals, for lack of a better word. Okay, so fold this one. You do want a little bit more than just a dab of glue. And this way it holds. If you have a little bit of if you've got some clips or whatever that you can put on there, that'd be great. And this way you can kind of move on. So I'm going to fold that one, twist it inwards or outwards. And we're going to twist that one to match. And grab our clips and put that in place. So we're just going to continue on all the way around the outside. We leave that third piece, the middle piece is just going to be left where it is. And then the last one. Okay, so we can already see it forming our beautiful snowflake. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside, let the glue set up there. And you do one thing I wanted to make mention of, and I totally forgot, is you do want to make, now is where you're making your decision, what side you want to have facing outwards. So if you want if you want the green facing out, you are going to flip that over. and have it face down. If you want your red side to be, well, in my case, the red side to be face down or to be on the outside, you're going to want to flip it down. Since that decision really is kind of been made for me already, because I just decided to kind of, you know, do my thing. We're going to just do with the red facing out. So we are going to continue on in that same method. So I'm going to apply my glue, and you're just going to repeat this all the way through for these ones. And it's so quick and simple and easy. You could get so many ornaments out of one 6x6 paper pack, and they really aren't that expensive. I mean, you can't buy ornaments, I don't think, for what it would cost you to make them. Really wouldn't, because I can't remember how much our paper packs are, but especially this plaid one. Plaid one is super, it's a super deal. And with all of these snowflakes, I mean, way less than $1 each. So there we go. All right. So I'm going to let that one dry for just a minute while I take these off. And they should be all good to go. Yep. So we're not going to worry so much about these straight ones that we haven't done anything with, because we will be doing something with them very, very shortly. Okay, these ones should be good to go too. Doesn't take very long for the liquid glue to set up, really, so we are good to go. So we now have our two pieces identical. You're going to flip one of them over and nestle the petals into the empty spaces. So where you have your long things going, that's where we're going to be nestling these in. Okay, so we're going to do that first, and then the next step is to feed these long pieces through the petal that's just below it. I'm calling them petals because that's kind of what they look like. I know snowflakes and petals don't necessarily go together, but there probably is a word for them. I just don't know what it is, so I'm going to call them petals. Okay, so I've got all the top ones done. I'm going to flip that over and feed these through. Once we have this down, we're just going to do a little bit more gluing. Then we have to do some trimming, and then we are going to be done. Okay, so the next thing we are doing is we're just going to tack these straight pieces, put a little bit of glue at the top of the petal, and we're just going to tack that down. You don't have to pull or push or anything like that. You're just going to go around, put a little dab of glue, and just make sure, maybe the only thing that you want to maybe fuss about is making sure that you have that straight line and the V are kind of in center, but I don't worry too much about that. Snowflakes are unique, and I don't think anybody's gonna notice if there's one that's a little bit off. So there we go. Okay, and I'm just going to flip that over, continue on this side. All right, so now that we have all of our glue done, just grab your scissors and we're just going to trim off the excess. Whoops. have pieces going flying everywhere. Okay. So once you're done the top piece, then you can flip it over. I just find it easier when the point is, you know, when this point is face up, and that way I get a better handle on where it is that I need to trim. Okay, perfect. And now the only thing we have left is to have some place where we can thread. Oh, I guess it would help if I actually did them all. Give me 1 second. Just notice that you don't need one for your hole punch, because we're going to be able to punch through one of these areas. So you're just going to go right at the tip, punch a hole, and then we can feed some ribbon, some twine, some of this, I guess it's twine, burlappy stuff. Now, hopefully, because you've got some really thick parts to this, so we are just going to loop it, feed it through our punch, our hole, and away we go. There we go. So that's all I'm going to do is loop it through, get the tails through, and then just, whoops, lasso this around the point. And there we have it. I'm just going to make another little knot at the top, trim it off, and that is ornament number 1. Almost done. As soon as I get these tails through that silly little knot there. I'm just going to trim that off a little bit. Ooh, there we go. And there you have it. Another beautiful snowflake, star, whatever you want to call it, snowflake ornament. Okay, so that is ornament number 1 done. And now we have a second one. I'll put that off to the side. And the second one is more along the lines of what we normally do, which is cutting and folding and scoring and all sorts of fun things. Set my glue aside. So the first thing we're going to need for this one is a piece of cardstock. And you can do solid if you want, you can do pattern if you want, but we are going to cover it. So I am going to grab, I think I was going to do this with, I think I'm going to do this with some red cardstock. Okay, so grab a piece of whatever color cardstock. I'm doing red. I'm going to grab my paper trimmer, wherever it might be. Here we go. So I'm going to grab my tiny paper trimmer and get this cut to 10.5. Whoa, 10.5. Oh, no. Yep, 10.5. Sorry, for a second there, I thought I cut it at 11.5. No, that was 10.5. 10.5, and we're going to do 6 1/4. Alrighty. Okay, so 10.5, 6 1/4. So now we're going to get out our scoreboards. Put that off to the side. Really is super handy to have a scoreboard because there is quite a bit of scoring that we're going to be doing. So with our 10.5 across the top, we are going to score this at 1 1/4, 2.5, 3 3/4, 5, 6 1/4, 7.5, 8 3/4, and 10. So again, we're going every 1 1/4. we're going to turn this around. We're going to flip it 90 degrees. And now we're going to be scoring again every 1 1/4 inch. So we're going to start at 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 3 3/4, and 5. So now we have a beautiful grid that has been made with just the score lines. Sorry, for a second there, I had to think about what my words were. Okay, so with we have a small 1-inch tab. Okay, we're gonna put that on the right-hand side. So we have this laid out. I do have a bit of a template that I wanted to show you, and it kind of looks like this. So the areas that I have here are going to be cut out. And these are where we're going to do some diagonal score lines. And that'll give us this little triangle faceted part. That was a really tough word to say. Okay, so what we are going to do next is... Okay. So instead of the scoreboard, we're actually going to use our ruler because I forgot I have not done really the measurements. Okay, so we're going to skip this first box, okay? And we're going in between our next two score lines. So that measures 1 1/4 between our next two score lines. You're going to take your bone folder and you're just going to put a little notch at 5/8, okay? And that will be right in the middle of that box. We're going to skip the next one and then so right now we're at 1, 2, 3, the fourth one from the left. Make another little notch at 5/8. Skip this one, and then again, we're just going to repeat that little notch at 5/8, skip that box, and then the last one, repeat and do 5/8. Okay, so everywhere we have done a little score mark at the bottom. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn that around. So we've got our 1/2-inch little tab there. So wherever we have a score mark at the top, we are going to repeat that and do that the exact same at the bottom. So again, skip this box. We're going to notch this one at 5/8. Skip this box, and then we go again, 5/8. You can do this with a pencil too. I'm just doing it with my little scoring tool. So I've got that measured, 5/8, skip, and then 5/8. Okay, so at each one of those score marks that we've done, we are going to now take our rulers and we're going to be doing little V's. So we're going to go from this top score mark. We're just going to come down diagonally to the next score mark. Okay, so if I'm working on this sheet, okay, I've got my little 5/8 up here. I'm just doing the score mark diagonally to the corner. Okay, and I'm going to switch that over, move that over, and do another score mark over to the right side. So you're going to end up with like a mountain, I guess, for lack of a better word. Okay, so I'm going to do that here. Okay, and then again, I've got my top score mark. I'm going to meet that down to the corner. You want to get as close to in that corner as possible. So if you're unsure where your score line is going to go, so I would just have the ruler. So I've got my scoring tool right where I want to start. I put my ruler up to it. Now, if you want to know where it's going to go, just move it down And if you need to adjust it, I move it back up to the top and I just kind of pivot until I'm happy where it ends up. I want to end it up right in that corner. So now I'm happy with that. I'm going to do a couple of passes and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And you get the hang of it after a little bit, how thick your scoring tool is. And it's going to depend, each tool is going to make its own mark, and it's going to be, you know, thick or thin depending on the tool. So if I use this ball tool, it'll be different than if I use this, which is from the scoreboard or my bone folder, what have you. So have I done that one? Yes, I have. Okay, so once you've done all of your mountains, now we're going to go to the bottom point and we're going to do the same thing, only we're obviously just going up one score mark to the left and then to the right. So the same thing. There we go. Okay, so now we see how it's kind of coming together a little bit. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to want to get rid of all of the boxes that I have shaded in. So on the top of every single one of those points, we are going to remove those boxes altogether. So just to make things just a little bit easier, I just like to go through and cut all of these lines first. That's just my personal preference. And then I come back and I cut away the boxes. So as soon as I hit here, I don't need this little 1/2 inch tab and I don't need the box next to it. So I'm just going to go across and remove that. I skip the next box, so I'm going to fold that in and I'm going to remove the box next to it. I fold this in. I want to keep that one. And we go ahead and remove that. We're going to keep that one. Oops. And I'm going to remove, whoop, almost cut my finger. And I cut that one off. Okay, so you have something that resembles this. So all of our peaks are here, 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 and here. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Okay, so just to keep it out of my way, I'm folding the ones that I want to keep. It also keeps me kind of mindful of, you know, not cutting everything off. Perfect. Okay, so now that we've cut away the boxes that we do not need, we're just going to do some folding. So just really quickly, I'm just going to go down the line. They don't have to be burnished super, super well, but just enough that we're creasing all of those fold lines. If you like doing it with your bone folder, by all means. You do want to make sure everything is all lined up though, because that way we don't have issues later on. Okay, now we're going to do, okay, where's my paper going? I do not know. Okay, so we're doing that side. All of our score lines are being folded right now. So every single one of them. Okay, even these little guys. So when it comes to scoring, or sorry, kind of folding these diagonal lines, whew, that was tough. We're just going to put, like, I just like having my finger there and you're pushing inwards a bit. Now, obviously you don't want the fold line or the score line to exceed past that corner. So you're just going to do it very gently. You don't have to worry about doing it, about rushing it. You just want to kind of get that fold in. Whew. All right, let's do that. Okay. And you'll notice, like, even if you just have your fingers on the point, you can see how it wants to fold inwards. So it will be very easy to make those triangles. Not everyone is going to be easy, obviously. So we just have to fold those in a little bit. And I just use my fingers to kind of, you know, persuade the paper to fold where I want it to go. So sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's easier than others. Sometimes there's triangles that want to be really difficult, and that's fine. But we will make the paper bend to our will. All right. All right, I think we are done. Oh, just have this last little one to do on the corner. Okay, so the next thing, and I was remiss in not telling this at the beginning, is you are going to need some little squares, provided you're using solid. If you're using paper that has a pattern on it already, there's no need to go through this step. So it is completely up to you. I mean, you may want just solid one color. Okay, so I'm not sure where we left off because my phone died. So tip number 1, make sure your phone is always fully charged before you do a video, or plug it in. So you are going to need some of these little squares. These are just 1 by 1. Again, there's a theme, using plaid from the Holiday Plaid, and you're going to fill in all the boxes that have none of the diagonal score marks. Obviously, we don't want those to be covered. And you are going to choose one of your top pieces, whether it's top or bottom, doesn't really matter. We're just going to choose one of these to be the holder of the ribbon, let's call it. And you're going to want to try and get that as central as possible. Actually, we're going to have to do this to either the top or the bottom, whichever one we decide. I did this little template, for lack of a better word. So this is 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 square. And I just did, I did a little notch at 5/8 on each side, made a cross, and I kind of got it in the middle-ish. So that doesn't so much matter. Just we're going to want to punch a hole in each of these at the top or at the bottom. Just you don't have to do all of them because the ribbon is only going to go through the top ones. That's it. So I'm just going to do that really quickly. And I'm pretty sure I'm making this hole bigger with each time I punch. Alrighty. And last one. Okay, perfect. So now we're just going to be putting our little squares. I did put one of them at the very top as well. And in order to do that, obviously we need to punch a hole in it. So it's just a matter of, you know, putting it as much in the middle as possible. I'm going to keep my finger pressed on that and punch a hole using my template. I apologize. My nose is running a little bit excessively. I've had, I don't know, a bit of allergies this evening. So I apologize for that. And so now we're just going to apply our little squares to the spots that we are going to want to put them in. And so I'm going to be putting them not on the bottom ones, although we are going to leave one that we're going to choose to put. And Doesn't really matter which one, really. Oh, we don't want to choose that one. I didn't realize that I had that one. Oh, I kind of like the green with that too. So, and the other thing that I wanted to mention is, you notice how I've got like white bits? So I think because it really did bother me a little bit, I didn't do that on my initial one. But if you want to get rid of those, I've said this once before, if you ink your edges, they're gone. So I think I am actually going to take the time. I like the green and the red. It's so Christmassy. I'm just going to go through, and I've got about, I think I have, there are 19 or maybe 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18. Okay, so there's 18 squares. All right, so we're just going to get these inked up, and I will be right back. Okay, now all my edges are happily inked. We're just going to go through, grab my glue, and that was kind of a rhyme. Yay. And we're going to glue down the bajillion squares in the spaces that have no diagonal. We also want to leave open one of the, or not open, we want to put one at the top that we have our hole punched through. And we're going to put one at the bottom, and that's going to be if we decide that we are going to do our top one over here, then the bottom one is going to be the directly opposite that. So, or along the same column, for lack of a better word. Okay, so I'm going to get to doing this, and I will be right back. Okay, so put that one there, and then I'm going to go all the way around the circle, or all the way around the hole that we punched, and get that lined up. Excellent. So we are well on our way. Now we get to like fold and stuff. First fold that we're going to do involves this square line, and little tab, and we're just going to basically like almost fold it in half. Well, I guess that is folding it in half, making sure we have a really nice seam. Oh, good Lord. And now I have the hiccups. I apologize. That doesn't happen to me very often. And they don't usually stay for very long, so thank goodness for that. Okay, that didn't want to cut where my finger was. It wanted to cut along after, so we're just going to fold that over. Okay, score tape works excellent in this application. This way we don't have to worry about letting it dry before we start folding and all the rest of that stuff. So we're basically going to fold this. We're going to press that seam down, right? So now we have the beginnings of our ornament. Dun, da, da, da. And we are going to start by folding in our bottom. So this is the one that we put the decorative plaid paper on. We are going to leave that one to last. So we're going to work on opposites. So we're going to go 1, 2, and then this will be the third. That'll be the fourth. Okay. So I found, you know what? I think the liquid is really going to work in our favor because there is a little bit of maneuvering that needs to occur. So we're going to put liquid glue on the top part, and we're going to get that together with the opposite side. And we're just going to hold that together for a little bit. Let the glue get happy. Make sure that we have this all aligned. All right. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to apply some glue on the top, keeping this one to last. And it's going to start folding in. So the corners where we had done the score lines are going to start folding. It may fight you a bit, but you show it who's boss. You're the boss. And we're just going to hold that in place for a bit. And then our last one. Okay, so make sure that that is folded. There we go. Okay. So we're just going to hold that there for a little bit, make sure that our glue is adhered. If you want to go ahead, you can always put your hand obviously on the inside, give it a little bit of pressure up, so because there's only you can only push down so much before your whole box goes crumpling to the ground. So it is pretty expansive inside. However, so I know that some people have used these for like little treats, but just remember that I wouldn't fill this with treats now unless you want it to be like a piñata ornament, because once you fold all of these in, the treat can't be any larger than like 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And even then, if it's 4 1/4, I think it's going to be a little bit challenging getting out. So just saying. So again, like the bottom, we're going to keep this one separate from everything else. And this time we have the added challenge of feeding through ribbon as we go. You could always use a lovely hook for the ornaments, and I cut way too much ribbon. You don't need this much. I think I was, overly excited about how long I needed this. And even now, I think that's substantial. I'm going to build myself a nice knot because we obviously don't want this feeding through the top, the holes. Okay, so we are going to go, I'm going to start with this one. So we're going to feed it through like so, and feed it through like so. So again, we're doing the opposites, and I am having issues feeding this through. There we go. Start at the corner and we can easily work our way out. So once you have it fed through these two pieces, what I did for my original box, you don't have to, is I just added a wee bits of glue right on the side, and then grab a hold of it with my fingers that barely fit, just to add security. Now, your ribbon, it really is not going to go very far, so you don't have to do the glue part. So it's completely up to you. If you want it to be a treat box, then you can absolutely do that. I did do a video on an ornament treat box. Oh, if I can just get this off. There we go. So I did this one a few weeks ago. So this one does open pretty readily, and you do have quite a bit of room in there for said treats. So just saying, if you're looking for something as an option for treats, then that would definitely be the one. I will link the tutorial for this treat box in the descriptions below. So again, I'm feeding it through the third panel, and we are pulling this closed, but having to pull the ribbon at the same time because you don't want that bulk to add up. I'm going to do the same thing as I did on my previous and just add a wee bit of glue there. And let's get that pushed in. Get that all happy there. And now we have our last one. We're almost done. So this was a little bit more, I guess, effort than the snowflake, but it's beautiful all the same. And you can certainly embellish the panels, each panel, if you wanted to do a little stamp or a little saying or what have you. You can certainly do that. Somebody's name. And I am going to do a little bit more gluing because I do not want this top tab to come apart. The other ones were more for stability than anything else. So now I don't really have a place to put my fingers on the inside. So I'm going to be stuck here holding that for a little bit, but it should be pretty good pretty quickly. And there we have it. Our second of 2 ornaments from today. So there we have it. This is the round faceted, there, faceted, whoops, that's coming up. I'm going to keep my finger on that. This is the round faceted ornament. And then we have our lovely snowflakes from before, ornaments galore. Just think of all the fun you can have. And again, these ones use one sheet of 8.5 by 11 for your base. Then you use basically a sheet, probably not even quite a sheet, to get all the squares done. And these use one sheet of 6 by 6. Simple. So I really, really thank you for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. Hopefully you'll be making plenty of ornaments. And if you want to use the paper that I've used here, the link will also be down below in the description. So thank you so much. If you've enjoyed this video and found it useful, give me a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. I've got lots of more videos coming up that are going to be beyond the card. So thank you again for joining me. Hope you have a great day. Stay safe, stay well. Bye.